As above, so below, as within, so without. Many people do not understand this. Partly because it was taught to you by your friendly neighborhood pastor or priest, and they didn't tell you the whole story. So I wanted to dive into the whole story because some of the folks, I did a little video and some of the folks didn't understand it. And it kind of is it's going to be like 3 parts because it kind of gets long, and I just wanted to get you guys into it to start out with so that you can kind of understand what this is about. So this actually starts with the law of duality, the attraction of opposites, and mirroring. Okay, so you have to understand this. This is really the basis to the whole thing. Once you understand this part of it, you will understand the rest of it as I go along. But if you don't get this immediately, you can, save it and watch it again on another day, absorb it, because it is very hard to understand especially if you're coming at it from a Christian perspective, because I know because I was a Christian, okay, and believe me, it's very hard to get past the programming in Christianity. They've told you, like, don't look, except for what I show you, right? And that's a problem because a lot of the information that we actually need to understand who we are and who this world and what this world is based in this knowledge. Okay? So, to start out with the law of duality, I wanted to explain how this works. Okay? So everything exists in pairs, in opposites. And so you have, light, dark, male, female, sun, moon, sky and ground, fire and water. You have these opposites, right? So the idea here being that the best way to explain this is power and energy. So you have to have a positive and a negative on a battery, right? You put the battery in and it connects a positive and a negative, and you get a charge from the battery. Now, with the same idea, if you've got like an extension cord and you plug that extension cord into itself, it's not going to create power. You have to have a positive and a ground. Make sense? With the positive and the ground, you can create a connection, right? Okay, so that connection is what you get into with the attraction of opposites. Okay, so you're talking about, in the attraction of opposites, you're talking male, female, right? It's the same concept with an electrical plug when you plug it into a socket, right? You've got a male as a positive and a female, which is your ground. So with all of that, and actually it gets even deeper than that when you start to look at power. So don't just take that one example, okay? Because power, energy, electricity, all of that, the generation of it, you have to have a positive and a negative. You have to have positive ions, negative ion charges, okay? So you end up with this balance, is what I'm hoping that you guys see, okay? You have to have a balance between the two opposites in order to create something. This is where I'm going with this, okay? Creation. All right. The next thing I wanted to get into is mirroring. Now, mirroring is more of a reflection, and you can see this in the reflection of your own self and the reflection that you create with others, when you're around others. A lot of people take very big offense to like your energy, and a lot of time that's because you are mirroring their personality, their energy back at them, and they don't like what they see. Okay, that's mirroring. In contrast, you can do mirroring with yourself. Okay, so the mirroring is an education. All right, it shows you the true self. All right, and the things that you don't want to look at. And most of the time, what it does is it makes you look at it, and it makes you correct whatever is wrong. Right? You go in the mirror in the morning, and you're like, holy cow, my hair is a mess. And so you run a brush through it, right? Same concept, but you're doing this internally, okay? Somebody comes to you, and you see something in them that you either envy or you wish you had that energy, or whatever it is. Sometimes people will just sometimes offend you immediately, and that could be a positive or a negative energy. But a lot of times what they're doing is they're reflecting something in you that you do not like. And so then you have to start and take a look at what's going on in here, right? Now this balance, that is not just external, but internal as well. So I'm not talking about just physically, I am talking about spiritually. So a woman, myself, has a masculine and a feminine side, okay? That masculine and feminine side have to have a cooperation, a marriage within you, okay? And that union, that spirit in you, if it is not connected, you are not a whole being. And you cannot be a whole being for your other half if you are not a whole being. Do you understand? Nothing can come together. It's like the yin yang or the tree of life. Okay? The tree of life, you see, the branches reaching up to heaven and the roots reaching underground, which gives it ground. But the life is in the tree that is growing in between the ground and the sky. That is the life, okay? So I want to take this a step further. I want to talk to you about twin flames and partners. Now, when you have a male-female relationship, I will tie this together with the as above, so below in the next video. But what I want you to understand is that male and female together create life. That is a positive and a negative, a yin and a yang. And when it's held together with that third, the creator, which is the circle that goes around the yin yang, or the trinity, when you have the male at the bottom and the female at the bottom, and I will explain that further too in the next video. But you have a male and a female at the bottom, and then you have the creator at the top, okay, and it holds the triangle together. That is the triad, that's the Trinity, that's the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. As I've told you before, the Holy Spirit is actually the representation of Mary Magdalene, or Adam and Eve, or, Mary Magdalene and Jesus, Yahusha. Anyway, so together they make life, okay? You cannot have a balance in this world without a positive and a negative. Keep that in mind when we go further into this, okay? It makes a huge difference that you understand that the dark and the light work together, all right?